Aloha and welcome to Java. Thank you kindly for joining. This is for Monday, it's July 29th, 2024. Kind of late this morning, had a lot of stuff yesterday's episode for the week ahead. So today, let's go ahead right into the markets. We've got our main risk indicator has retraced even further actually. So we've got a lot of more kind of risk coming in, heading back into that gray territory. So Friday, after the pullback that happened last week, basically, we've got stocks looking to rally ahead of. We've got a big week ahead, as we spoke about, for possible rate cuts. We've got the Fed talking on Wednesday, and big week for earnings. So mostly today, earnings, no reports. We've got the 10-year yield and the relative strength of the dollar are both weakening again. It's giving a little bit of room to the stock market. So I've been hitting kind of hard on cryptocurrency over this past week. We've got a fear greed indicator for that as well. And right now, for cryptocurrency, it is very deeply into the greed zone. However, it can possibly continue. So right now, it's just below the $70,000 mark for Bitcoin. So this is a resistance level. Long term, and none of this is financial advice. You can look this up yourself, do your own research. But longer term, in my opinion, it is going to continue. However, right now it's hitting this resistance area. I want to watch what it does, whether it breaks down for a bit and will take a little bit of a breather, so to speak, before the next run up, or if it breaks through this level, if it gets above 72, then it's in new territory. So looking at stocks right now, we've got stocks in the green, so that is also positive for this sector. It's a shifting of money again, or rather of dollars. So the flow of capital back into stocks, back into Bitcoin. This is risk on. We're watching the Fed numbers if they're going to do a September cut. So futures also seeing in the green. So the market basically is pricing in two things. Number one, cuts from the Federal Reserve in September, and we're starting August this week. So that's going to make a difference in the sentiment. So they're pricing in number one, Fed cuts. Number two, the presidency will be cryptocurrency friendly, probably conservative leaning is what they're pricing in right now. So with this, we've got the new month is starting kind of the middle of this week after the Fed speaks on Wednesday. So the sentiment for that is kind of going to be heading towards fall. So more significantly, we're going to be watching the Fed, as we've been speaking about. Those Fed cuts really are insignificant now because they've been using quantitative easing of different sorts. So that rate cut isn't as important, but this shift in sentiment could start as early as this week. So then they'll all be looking towards November. So Monday, not a lot scheduled on the calendar. We are, as I said, looking to the Fed meeting, expecting interest rate cuts as inflation is pulling back a bit. Now, it needs to pull back further, but they want to be ahead of it. So they're really going to be watching jobs reports, in my opinion. So we had the Bank of Japan cut bond buying as the fate of their rate policy is stirring jitters. So they were already warned about manipulating their currency. As I said before, this is, good or not, the opportunity for us to see what happens with a dying currency. So they have basically deflated the currency there towards the end. This is the first of the major Western currencies we have been watching recently in Venezuela, Lebanon, and a few other places. We'll talk more about that in a bit. So the big things going on today is earnings. In particular, McDonald's came out prior to market open, and a few of these others, as well as on Tuesday prior to market open. So you can set yourself up if you would like to engage in these trades. So McDonald's did get hurt by their global sales drops. The first one since 2020. They're saying this is the weakest they've been since the pandemic. So watching this, they just came out. We've got the US consumer showing signs of flagging. So now they're talking about the consumer not being as strong as they've been putting out in all of this mainstream media. So with all of the earnings pulling back and sentiment, we're watching the big tech earnings this week because it will have an effect. Okay, we've got the European Union preparing two-step trade plan to tackle the election results this November. They're all nervous because he basically is very America centric and will gear all of the trade, military, and everything else back, shifting towards that as opposed to a more globalist outlook. So, with this, spoke about this yesterday. US and Japan security talks focusing on bolstering military cooperation. Now, the Secretary Blinken has been over there and visiting Japan more times this year than they have in the past 20 years. So there's a lot of things going on in here. We've got a lot of Pacific movement, and they're trying to use basically Japan as a base for all of this. It cannot use Korea like they used to before, but Japan has a strategic location. So just throwing out there as a side for any of you on that side of things. Okay, so I'd like to go into a little bit more of what's going on with this. We've got Lebanon. This is an escalation of the physical wars that are going on. There was Israeli retaliation. There was drone strikes, more deaths that happened over this weekend, escalating this. So we've got the Turkish president not liking what's going on as far as some other things, and basically came out saying that they may enter Israel in order to help Palestinians. But they're talking more about aid right now, not anything as far as the other side of this. Nothing escalating from that side. So we've got Poland offering Orban to withdraw. So he's from Hungary, from the European Union and NATO. And there's a lot of clashes going on here. Orban is trying to negotiate peace between Ukraine and Russia, and they don't want anything to do with peace. There is no profit in peace. So they will not push towards this. Just want to make this clear. The United States GDP, over a third of it is due to this war effort. If that stops, that halts a good portion of the GDP. So that would shut down a lot economically, and then not the only one. So this is filtering to a lot of our Western allies. So Germany is benefiting from this. Poland is benefiting from this. And there are also a lot of backdoor funding deals that we do not see. So I had a particular company, BlackRock, on the top of this video for a very reason, because they are one of the mainline ties through corporations that a lot of this money is filtering out. They own the bulk of the larger stocks on the major exchanges. And this is something else that you can look into. If you have interest, we will be covering this from time to time in a very light section, because there is a lot of heavy censoring going on right now. Okay, so we've got French telecom system was attacked in France. A lot of key areas impacted. Now, they had the sabotage of the railway, a lot of fires. So high level of attacks. They knew a lot of this was coming in, but expecting more of this. So with this, I'd like to bring up the final things. We've got Southern California Gas suddenly shutting down their area's gas service over quote unquote land movement. So this is in a highly seismic area. So there is a divergence here, though, that I want to speak about. The first is the physical of a lot of these underlying. There is a lot more activity going on. It is kicking up. I think there's going to be significant things happening with this. We've got volcanoes erupting several places in the world that had been basically dormant. There's a lot of sun flares and other things going on, but just to call attention to this because there are major areas of shifting. And we saw Texas just had a couple of major earthquakes as well as New York. Now, these fault lines are kicking up. So, this is also going to be something we'll have to dive into. I don't have a lot of specific research on this that I can share visually with you, but I did want to bring this up. So, aside from the physical shifting going on, this goes along with also there is sentiment shift that we will see. The ramblings are beginning. So we've got the first of the month is happening this week. This Thursday, we're getting the Fed on Wednesday. And then the 1st of August, Thursday, you're going to watch a serious shift happening with this. So with all of this, I just want to remind you to become prepared. There are multiple wildfires happening, not just in the West, but also in Canada and other things going on around the world that if you have to all of a sudden leave your area, to be prepared for that as well. So with that, I wish you all a wonderful day. Green trading day, if you're going to be trading, there should be some good volatility. Looking positive right now on the open. Could change later in the day, but it looks to have some strength. So we'll see what happens after opening. And until I see you again, my friends, stay free,